Hello there. Today I'm going to be comparing two black and white motion picture film stocks. The first one being Eastman Kodak XX. The second one being Kodak Tri-X. I shot some XX when I was in university and I was working on a film called Mania Frame. There was one scene which sort of depicted a very surreal kind of job interview where a clown committed suicide and one of the attendees of the job interview was beaten half to death by two other clowns. When I used XX, I used it on 60mm film. I shot it using a camera called the Arri SR3, and I had it developed and scanned by a company called Cinelab. The Tri-X that I've shot, on the other hand, was Super 8 Tri-X, so not really a fair comparison in that respect. And I shot a few rolls. I had two of them developed by a company called Gauge Film and the other one developed by a company called On 8mm. From a practical point of view, one thing which is good about the XX that isn't good about the Tri-X is that you can get XX in 400-foot 60mm rolls, whereas the Tri-X you can only seem to get in either Super 8 or 100-foot 60mm rolls. I mean, what, like, professionals aren't interested in using Tri-X? I don't know. You tell me, Kodak. A practical thing which is quite good about the Tri-X is that obviously it's a reversal film, so it's better for people who enjoy developing their own film. Another annoying thing about XX is you can't actually buy it on Super 8. So if you're going to shoot Super 8, you gotta shoot Tri-X if you want to shoot black and white, because that's the only black and white stock that's available on Super 8, from Kodak at least. There might be some weird, obscure company like Carl or something like that does a version, I'm not sure. But from Kodak, the only version that you can get is Tri-X. So if you're shooting black and white on Super 8, you gotta shoot Tri-X. Blammo. Now, my favourite out of the two, I have to say, is the Tri-X. This is because I think it seems to have a little bit more kind of contrast in it. The kind of shadows and the kind of darkness and the kind of greys just seem more kind of dynamic in that stock for me. I think that's just a personal opinion of me. I don't know whether there's any sort of official measurement that might, prove me wrong. If there is, perhaps XX might have a better dynamic range than the Tri-X, I'm not sure. But for me, I felt like the Tri-X has a little bit more contrast and it's a little bit more colourful, I guess I would say, which is a weird thing to say about a black and white stock, but I just felt that there was more kind of variation and visual interest within the monotone, within the different shades of grey, than the XX, which just seemed a little bit flatter to me. Also, when I was looking at the lighter parts of the frame, the white parts of the frame, and I was sort of comparing the intertitle cards from Mutant Water, which was the film that I shot on Tri-X, and the kind of plain white walls, which there was a lot of in Mania Frame, which was the film which I shot on the XX. When comparing those kind of large, light, kind of flat white parts of the frame together on the two stocks, I felt as if I could accept the grain on the white parts of the frame in the Tri-X more than I could with the XX. When I was looking at the white parts of the frame in the XX, and saw the grain, it kind of bothered me a little bit more. I think this might actually have something to do with the fact that XX actually seems very, very sharp when it comes to the detailed and more colourful parts of the frame. Colourful, I'm using that phrase again, we're talking about black and white, I don't know why, but you understand what I mean. For example, the people's clothing, if you look at the people's clothing, if you look at the suits, if you look at the blind behind one of the characters in one of the shots, those parts of the frame are actually very sharp. They're actually very sharp with the XX, and probably a lot sharper than the Tri-X, but then maybe that's not a good comparison because the Tri-X was Super 8, so you know. I think because of how sharp the darker parts of the frame with the XX are, I think it potentially draws your eye a little bit more to the lighter parts of the frame where the grain seems to stand out a little bit more. Maybe you notice the grain a little bit more because the rest of the frame is actually quite sharp. I'm not sure, but either way, the grain and the XX doesn't quite look as pleasing to me as the grain in the Tri-X. And just overall, I just think the Tri-X looks a lot more pleasing. It has a lot more a mood to it. I guess it's darker and more shadowy, which is more to my taste in a black and white film than the XX, which is very flat and bright. And yeah, so that's my take on it. When comparing XX to Tri-X, I much prefer the Tri-X. If you like these videos, please subscribe, yada 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 yada. This channel is all about film. We've already got some film up. There's going to be more film to come. The next film that I'm going to be doing is going to be... The next film that I'm going to be doing is going to be a colour negative film, the Kodak 500T, but I'm going to have it developed as a reversal film, which means the colours are going to come out all crazy and it's going to be experimental as fuck. So if you're into film, if you like the look of film, if you like experimental film, then for God's sake, please damn subscribe to this channel and like the video and, you know, share it and just help a guy out, please, come on.